Hello and welcome to the Farmer's Kitchen. We're the farmers, and this is our kitchen.
It is? Oh yeah, it's one of them.
Tonight.
It's one of them.
You know what? When it's Father's Day, or when it's Mother's Day, we always honor our parents.
That's right.
Because you and I hit the jackpot.
We did.
When it came to parents. I mean, we just did.
Yes.
We're very fortunate to have the best parents in the world.
I think so.
And you know, something just came to me just a little while ago. So many people will say, man, I saw your dad making the venison burgers. We do that at deer camp every year. We take them and we smash them flat and we put the onions in them. Dad would make the world's greatest cheeseburgers when we were kids. I said, Dad, where'd you get that idea? He said, I went to the White Light in Maysville, Kentucky, where we used to live. So Daddy would sit there and talk to him and watch what he was doing and smell and taste. And he brought that idea from a restaurant home.
Good idea. You do that.
Dad would go to restaurants and watch when he could see, especially when they were doing it right there on the griddle in front of him. He brought that home.
Right.
So maybe it's genetic.
Maybe. You know, your dad's so good at it. Do you remember last year we invited them over for dinner and we didn't tell your dad what it was, but we had burger waiting for him and we made him cook. We made your dad cook for all of us because he's so good.
Ah, he made it good.
I have a good picture of you and your dad that day.
You know, he was on, I think he was on Kentucky Field and on our show showing how to make venison burgers. Now you could do this with a hamburger as well, but it's very simple. Just follow the Jerry Farmer method. My dad, greatest dad in the world. Later we're gonna have Bill on, another greatest dad in the world. But first, here's Dad making the world's greatest cheeseburgers.
Yum.
When he was doing that at home, us kids were happy.
Yay.
Kitchen smelled great. All right, of course, Mom had to start things out as usual, but Dad's gonna follow up with the main course. These are the world's greatest cheeseburgers.
Exactly.
And we can vouch for that because, do you remember when we said, Dad, please make the world's greatest cheeseburgers? And you would. All right, let's talk about the world's greatest cheeseburger and how simple it is, but the way that you make it. These are fresh onions.
Right.
Now, tell us, if you will, give us an overview of how you start.
Okay. The thing is, these go so fast, you have to have everything right ready. So I've got the hamburger balls made up. I've got the buns buttered. I've got the onions chopped. The cheese ready where I can get right hold of it quick.
Dill pickles, room temperature.
Dill pickles, room temperature, salt and pepper, handy. But I got the idea from a small restaurant where they had a lot of customers and they had to serve them very quickly. And the hamburgers would cook instantly. They would go together instantly. And these, to be world's greatest cheeseburgers, they have to be eaten immediately.
Yes, they do.
Right off the grill.
And we never have a problem with that. Remember us sitting there waiting for the next one? Now that's what, just a little bit bigger than a golf ball.
Yeah, something like that.
What you're thinking, okay, that's not a whole lot of meat, but that's exactly the amount of meat that you need to make the world's greatest cheeseburgers.
It cooks up some, and it'll just about take care of a bun.
Hey, Dad, look here. I found this in an antique store. I used to have a rooster on it, but I put it in the dishwasher. That's an old hamburger press. Put one in there, see what you think. You can just flatten the heck out of them.
I think that'll work great.
You like that?
Yeah, just the right.
Kind of makes it uniform.
Got the right flatness.
How about that?
Now this fellow in the restaurant, when he flattened the hamburgers, he threw one on the grill and he took the spatula and he went, and it was flat. That's how quick he did it.
He had that muscle memory. He'd been doing it for so long. Everything was exactly one after the other.
Quick and perfect, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna grab some stuff and help you take everything over because I'm dying for hamburgers.
Basically, you have your skillets hot, at least two skillets, but you put the hamburgers in the skillet, flatten them out as flat as you can get them, put the buns in the other skillet so they can be toasting, and as soon as the hamburger gets done on one side, or while it's cooking actually, you put the onions on top and push the onions
Smoosh them in.
into the burger. Right. And then you can see when the one side gets done, you quickly flip the burger to the other side. When you do that, put the cheese on. And then when the whole thing is finished, the bun should be finished, the hamburger finished. You take it out, put it on the bun, put the pickles on it, and put it on a plate ready to eat.
You know what? Anytime you fix these, people just start showing up from off the street, wherever they are, and they start grabbing them. It's hard to keep everybody away from them, but you know, I mean, I was wanting to have at least 3 or 4 of these, but I think we should commit to eating them right now. Those are the world's favorite cheeseburgers. You know, most times when you eat a hamburger, you want some ketchup or mustard. I think that would take away from this. Try this. If you don't like it, we'll come to your house and beat you up and take your hamburger. Wonderful. Thanks, Deb.
Good job.
You're a great cheeseburger. I think about Dad, and I think about Dad's dad and what he used to cook. And I think about your dad in our kitchen. You know, your dad was always talking about barley soup and canned venison, and you know, he was always catching a pike, bringing the pike in, and he would smoke the pike.
That's right.
Because the pikes have a different bone structure. So he would always take that and smoke it, and he'd hand you a big chunk.
That's good.
It's good.
Delicious.
So Wild Bill was here quite a while back, and I think we did this for Kentucky Field. Now here's something I want you to pay attention to. This kitchen that you're looking at, this was probably 2005.
Oh, when we first moved in.
Same kitchen that we cook in the house now.
Right. And your hair was shorter. A lot shorter. You shaved your head.
On a dare. My friend Tim Sloan, who has less hair than I do. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
He said, Farmer, you and your hair. And I said, I don't care about my hair. I'll shave it. He said,
You
no,
look
you won't. He
cute.
bet me 20 bucks. He didn't remember it. So I shaved my
It
head for
looked
20
cute.
bucks.
I liked it.
So anyway, here's me and Wild Bill in our old kitchen and my shaved head. And I've got Wild Bill from Michigan over here, my father-in-law. This is a barley recipe. Basically, cut your vegetables up. Depends on what kind of vegetables you like. It's a tomato-based soup, so I'm gonna pour our tomatoes in. I like to have a beef-based bouillon. I'll use 4 or 5 cubes of that. Got some vegetables cut right here. This gives it a good taste. We'll put quite a bit of basil in there, according to your taste. You might like it, you might not. Like a lot of garlic, some fresh peppercorns here. My mother-in-law got me this. What we'll do is we'll get this cooking, get it boiling, get that nice smell going. And in the end, we'll put anywhere from a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of the barley in there towards the end, and that gives it the nice texture. But the most important thing is this right here. Now you can open this up and have it for a snack. You can use it to make barbecue like you do, or you can put it in soup, which I really like.
This is good meat here. I don't know what it is.
That's a big doe I killed, a big fat doe I killed.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Archery.
I take the deer, which is not usually this nice. It's got fat on it, it's got gristle, muscle, but I just cut it like this, and then I cut it in little squares, and then I just drop it in the jar. And I keep doing that. Now I do this in February and January because up in Michigan in February and January, you can't do much. It's so cold, you can't ice fish. So all this stuff is in the freezer, and I just start cutting it up when I have free time. And that isn't often, because you married men know you don't have free time when you're married. So basically now we've done enough to have 1 jar. And then what I do is I pack it in real tight. It is so good that we make it with barbecue sauce. We put it and mix it up. But our grandson, he eats it right out of the package. But now what we do, we push this down, put some water in, and then we take and put the lid on. Okay? And I'll take this over to the pressure cooker, which is right here. Now I have the small pressure cooker here, which will take a pint. Put the water in the bottom of the pressure cooker, put the lid on, let it start steaming, and then it starts jiggling. The little top jiggles here. And once it starts jiggling, you adjust your heat so it jiggles on a regular basis. And then you time it for 1 hour and 15 minutes, turn off the heat, let it cool for about 2 hours, and you're done. It's delicious. Really is. Tim tried it, and I figured if Tim likes it, it's got to be good.
Hey, fish is next. You got to figure the fish thing out. We want to can some of
Yeah, we
those.
could do that too. I've never done it.
Wild Bill from Michigan's canned deer. You can't beat it. In a little while, we're going to have some soup with that in it.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. Oh, yeah. It's looking good. It's smelling good. I added the barley.
dropped a bay leaf in there for a little extra taste. Oh, it's smelling good. Now, the great thing about this is we've only been cooking this for maybe 45 minutes. We all like our vegetables with just a little bit firm. But normally your meat at this point would be still firm, too firm to eat. Then like we talked about earlier, look right here. Take this jar and you have this meat with a camel soup-like consistency. Pour it in there. There's one jar. Let's see if we need any more. And then look here. You just stir it in and break those pieces up. And again, they're just real soft. Break them up so you don't have any huge pieces. I'm gonna let that cook about another 10 minutes. And we're about to commence to eating some.
Now tell me some Wild Bill stories, and then I want to tell you one of mine.
Uh-oh.
Then I want to tell you some Wild Bill stories. What do you remember with food and your dad growing up?
You know what? He liked me to cook, and I don't care what I made. It was wonderful. Even
Yeah, but you are a good cook.
Yes, but he would say, I don't care what it was, and Mom would be making faces. This is the best I ever had. He was very encouraging, and everything I made was wonderful. Even the granddaughters, Kelly and Lindsay, when they would cook, the best food he ever had. Very positive and loved everything.
You know what I remember saying?
What?
This is the berries.
Yeah, everything was
What's
the berries.
that mean?
Just wonderful. If it's the berries, because he liked
Or
it.
the bee's knees.
Right. He liked berries because he liked canned berries. So that was
true.
the berries. But
He had his own jelly and jam recipe, and
Yes,
he
he
really
did.
liked canning. In fact, that was something he did every year.
Mm-hmm.
He really got into his canning. My favorite picture of him is Wild Bill the scuba diver.
That's right.
He loved to go into the lake behind his house.
Gross lakes. He'd jump into a gross lake and go,
Oh,
for hours.
What do you mean gross?
Well, their
mucky?
lake is mucky. Yeah, he'd
Mucky.
disappear. I was worried that he wasn't going to come back.
Another memory I have as a kid, Thanksgiving. Always at Thanksgiving, of course, we all have turkey, and Daddy would not ever let anything go to waste.
That's right.
Nothing went to waste.
He likes leftovers, doesn't he?
Leftovers. If there was a bone that had meat on it, it was going to be used. So there's one specific smell that it's the combination of the ingredients are not sophisticated. And Dad is so meticulous when
Yes,
it comes
he
to
is. That's where you get it. Everything's got to be in order.
It's got to be
Yes.
right there and right there.
Yes.
It sounds so overly simple, but there's something
good.
magic about it. And if you got some fresh biscuits to put it on, oh, here's Dad's turkey hash. Look who's here today to try our scrapple and tell us what to do with your leftover turkey. It's Mr. Farmer. Hey, Mr. Farmer.
Hey, Mr. Farmer.
Somebody in the show recently asked to say, why do you call Nicki Mrs. Farmer? I'm like, it's Mrs. Farmer. I call you Mrs. Farmer. Just as a joke, you call Mom Mrs. Farmer. Mrs. Farmer calls me Mr. Farmer, and it's just kind of fun. So that's how that started back in the 70s. 1974, right?
Right.
You were there.
I got it.
What Daddy's making is what we used to smell after Thanksgiving. You wake up in the morning. It's such a simple recipe, but such a wonderful smell. It's like certain things have a smell that are seasonal. When Mom was making her chow chow, you'd smell it throughout the whole house. When you made this hash, we knew something good was about to happen. All right, I like family traditions, and I like family memories, and a lot of those revolve around the kitchen. How did this start for you?
Okay, as a small child, with my brother and I were partially raised by my grandparents, and they were country people that lived in a city, and they still had their country ways and their country cooking and all that. My grandmother was a wonderful cook. She even cooked for a restaurant at one time. But she would fix this for us a lot of times for breakfast or even any time of the
Was
day.
this Mamaw Parrot?
Mamaw Parrot, yes. This was my mother's mother and father we lived with. And, boys eat a lot, and they had to make a little bit go a long way. And so she'd make a big skillet full of this hash, and we loved it. And so when I was grown and married, I started trying to duplicate that for our family, you know. You know, every year, especially around Thanksgiving when we have leftover turkey, I would take the carcass and pick off all the little bits and pieces, and the neck and maybe the back and some of the wings and what we didn't slice up. And that would get put kind of aside for our big hash breakfast or meal. Anyway, we've been doing that a long time. We've been married how many years now? 59 years.
59. How can that be when I'm only 28?
I know.
It's amazing.
Amazing. But anyway, kids always liked it, and
This is something you can't hardly not like. It's so simple, but Daddy, it really did have a distinctive taste and smell.
Yeah.
It smelled the whole house up in this wonderful way.
it's that combination of things that give you that certain smell, you know.
And because we're talking about it, I want to make it happen. I'm going to turn you some fire on, Mr.
Okay. Okay, so you want me to start?
Yeah, let's do this.
We'll get this heated up a little bit. It takes about 20 minutes for the potatoes to cook. This is a couple of cups of broth. And I've got most of this cut up, but I'll cut up maybe a little bit more potato. And I try to cut it up efficiently and make the pieces come out a certain size so you can pick them up with your fork or spoon or whatever you eat with. And the best way I found to do it is cut it like that and then cut it a couple times across this way. And just in a few seconds you have a bunch of tiny potatoes to go in the hash.
So how would you guess you got maybe 2 cups of turkey, 2 cups of potatoes?
Yeah, I would say probably, I'd say maybe a cup of onions, maybe 2 or 3 cups of broth. We'll see how much we need. And then potatoes, I usually use like 4 pretty good sized potatoes. These were a little bit smaller, so we use a few more. I think we used about 6 of these.
If you're looking at this thing, well, it's only got a couple of seasonings. It's only got a couple of ingredients. I'm telling you, try this after Thanksgiving and then come back and tell me it looks simple. This is absolutely one of my favorite things. All our kids would say, Daddy, make your hash, Daddy, make your hash. That's probably the second favorite thing to the world's greatest cheeseburgers.
Well, I'll put the potatoes in first because it takes them longer to cook. I'll go ahead and put these onions in there too since I got them cut up. I think I'll cut up a little bit more onion to put in there. And we'll put the meat in last because it's already cooked. And basically it just has to heat up.
Just salt and pepper.
Just salt and pepper.
Now in a minute,
And
these onions are getting my eyes. But in a minute we're gonna start getting that smell.
so the onions and the pepper really had the most of the smell. And here's a little secret. If you don't have broth, no big deal. It's almost as good with water. So, but broth is the best, of course, because you get that broth cooked into everything. This is a little bit, this is gonna be a little bit meaty, so I like that.
I don't have a problem with that.
And now, what we've got here, this meat we've got here is a little better than what most of the old timers used. What they had was really scrappy. It was,
Pieces of gristle and stuff in it.
well, I mean, it was little tiny pieces that they picked off of the bones.
Just picking every piece of meat off of there.
Everything, yeah. Okay, so there you go, 20 minutes.
When you went back and made it the first time, did you have to kind of experiment to get that? I'm sure you remember the smell and taste too, just like when you were a kid.
Yeah. I think the thing I had to figure out the most was the proportions. You know, how many potatoes, how many onions, and how much meat. You know what it kind of looks like. And I was telling you when I first came, I kind of came up with an idea: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 onion, medium size. 2 cups of turkey. 3 cups of broth. and 4 pretty good sized potatoes, and that makes a skillet.
That's it.
full.
Smell that?
Yeah, I smell it.
That's the magic. So simple, but it's magic.
I think that's about as simple a meal as you could make. And when you put it over biscuits, if it boils down a little bit and starts to look maybe a little bit dry, you can add a little water, a little bit more broth. But you don't want it soupy, you don't want it too wet, and you don't want it to dry out. You want it to be able to go over your biscuits like a gravy, and then the other part too. So it's more like a stew than it is a soup. It's not done until the potatoes get soft, so it takes a while.
I can't wait to eat this. The kitchen is filled with the proper smell.
All right.
That smells beautiful. I'm gonna take this and set it aside, Mr. Farmer.
I wanted to make another comment or two. You know, it has to have a certain consistency. And could I have that water, maybe just a little bit more water? I've had to add maybe 2 cups of water through this whole process because it keeps boiling down. And if you don't do that, it'll finally end up scorching. So, and the way you can tell it's done, when the potatoes get soft, then the whole thing's done. The meat was already cooked, the onions cook up real quick, so you have to wait on the potatoes till they get done.
And that starch, you can see the starch, and it makes almost like a slight gravy.
Yeah, it is like a gravy. And here's what I think is the way to eat it. Of course, you know, you can eat it any way you want, but that's about how we usually do.
Now that right there.
And you may need a little salt. I didn't salt it too heavy.
Look at that. The simplest things.
It might burn you up. You better watch out. It's okay.
Oh man. Isn't it funny how something you eat or some music will take you back?
Yeah, bring back memories. Yeah.
That's there's something about it that is beautiful. So simple, but so delicious. And that's hash. And what I would like to find out now, is that a regional thing? Both your grandparents were from around the Lebanon area, and they called this hash.
Yeah.
Is this something, and we would like you to contact us on the show, if you will, through our Facebook page, and tell us if you've had hash as a kid in the Kentucky area.
You know, we call it hash. Now, our friends in Virginia, they make something they call hash, but it's more like burgoo. It's not like this at all.
Isn't it funny, the regional
Yeah,
names
yeah.
for everything? Man, Daddy, that is delicious.
Very good.
I think the only thing left to do right now is to turn that camera off and let everybody sit down at the table. And I will show everybody how to eat this.
Yeah.
I'll eat the first biscuit, then I'll eat the second biscuit. Then I'll eat all of them. Daddy, I might give you a little bit because you helped make it.
Okay, half
But I'll
a
probably
biscuit.
eat most of it. Let's eat. Oh, it's good. So here we got all these dad recipes. Where are you going to find our dad's recipes?
TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com.
By golly. And while you're on there, you see all these things, you think, I want to be a part of this, hit subscribe.
right.
That way, every time we have a new video, you can watch that. And there's another place where you can visit with us, and that's Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen Facebook page, but it's extremely difficult to
It
get
is
in there.
difficult.
How do you navigate that, Ms. Farmer?
You hit like.
That seems rather easy.
It is very easy. I can even do it.
But that being said, can you believe a whole half-hour Father's Day special is behind us?
You didn't even feed me.
Maybe we should go out.
Maybe we go out to eat. That's
All
right.
I'll buy you a steak. As this half hour has flown by, Ms. Farmer, there's only one thing left to say. It's all about
Good times
good friends.
and good eats.
We'll see you next week on Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. Give your dad a hug.
To order a cookbook, email timfarmerck@gmail.com.